What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. I have a special guest today. It's my good friend, Charlie Weingroff. And Charlie, we brought Charlie onto the podcast, or we asked him. Well, first of all, I got to tell a quick story. So, this is how good of a guy Charlie is. So, Charlie Weingroff's one of the busiest, best, well-known physical therapists, strength coaches on the planet. Like, not in the country, like on the planet. And I asked him to speak at my event. I asked him to contribute something to my giveaway that I'm doing. And one of the things was I asked him, "Hey, can we do a podcast to um, talk about it?" Right? And Charlie was ready to fly to New Jersey to book a flight to come to sit with me and Big Tom to do a podcast. He was going to fly in. And the reason why I found out because I thought he was going to come to, he's always coming to New York for different stuff. But he's telling me, he's like, "Hey, if I fly in at 9 o'clock and fly out at 1 o'clock, will that be?" I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like, you're coming in just for the podcast?" And just that just shows what kind of person Charlie is. He was going to come and record this podcast in person. He does everything, to the fullest, to the best of his ability, which is very vast. But I've been friends with Charlie now for, I think, 15 years. He's regarded as one of the world's greatest physical therapists and strength coaches. And we asked Charlie to come on today to talk about a bunch of different things, but very excited for this, Charlie. Thanks so much.
Yeah, there's some varying levels of truth to everything you just said.
That's typical Vince Gabriel.
Yeah,
Let's say
yeah.
yes. Well, look, you're right. If I'm going to do something, it's going to be done at a certain standard, and your win is my win. Now, part that you left out, which was probably appropriate. I'm not sure I would make that effort for just anybody. So anybody listening out there, no, I'm not going to fly to your location to do a podcast on the same day. That's not. And as far as all the nice things you're saying about me, thank you very much. But until there's a championship belt for those things, I'm not worried about it. I just want to work and train and go to Disney whenever I want. That's how I'll wear the championship. So thank you very much, guys.
Very cool. Very cool. So we have a couple of different things that we're going to talk about today with Charlie. The first thing is that I'm doing this called Vince's Huge Giveaway. Yeah, you know about it. I think everybody at this point knows about it. We've talked about it a bunch, right? It's a 20 now because we added things to it. It's a $26,750 package that I'm giving away to one gym owner. And I wanted this not to just to be about stuff that I am giving away of my stuff like business coaching and things like that, but I wanted to gather the people that I've had the most experience with and add that to part of the package. And one of those things was an in-service with Charlie. Okay. And it's a very interesting story of how this came about. Okay. Because I think I don't know if anyone did what you did with me before me. I think I might have been the first, right? But probably 15 years ago, I was listening to the Strength Coach podcast and with Anthony Renna. And I heard this guy who I didn't know before, but I was like, this guy is freaking really smart. So I looked him up and I'm realizing he's in New Jersey, he lives in New Jersey, which is where I live. And he lives like an hour away. And so I don't know how, if I emailed you or called you or something like that, but I basically said that, hey, I need this guy in my gym. I want him to look at what we're doing. And we were doing well at the time, right? Tom was there. But I wanted to get better. I wanted to be the best that we possibly could be. And I asked Charlie if he would spend an entire day with me looking at all the stuff that we were doing, how we were training our athletes, how we were training our adult clients at the time, and to come in and rip it apart and tell us how we can do it and make it better. And it was kind of nerve-wracking, right? Because we were good coaches at the time, but we were really sticking our neck out there to get, the feedback from someone like Charlie.
For sure.
And so, do you remember that at all, Charlie?
Yeah, yeah. I think I might have been in North Carolina at that time, and all of us from New Jersey don't say it that way. But when you live there long enough, I actually have to try to say North Carolina. So I was probably at Marsoc, and then I took whatever my vacation time because I would come back every so often just to see friends and family. And I do remember, and I don't know exactly. There was probably not a very singular event that was like that, but I was probably doing that for Equinox in terms of really building out a lot of infrastructure for their tier 4 at that time. We'd have to look at the dates and the year because I think the first year with them would have been like 2009. So I think this happened a little bit after 2009.
Probably.
Yeah, like 10 or 11, at which point I would have been at Marsoc. So, yeah, and I don't remember it being terribly uncomfortable, and that just says a lot about the people involved, the three of us, and everyone else there. Like, I don't remember being like, oh man, like what am I doing here? These dudes are a bunch of goofballs. Like it just uh, and I would hope to think I'm a lot better at that now than whatever I was then. All of us, like everything that you're talking about probably has all of these business terms, like this was a consulting session to identify your business's blind spots. Just having somebody else come in, and blind spots would probably live more in business nomenclature than ripping up someone's training program, even though they're relatively the same thing, just a very specific version of that. So I remember I definitely I don't remember what we were doing other than maybe we did something on the whiteboard in your office.
Yeah.
That I remember, but other than that, I don't remember much else.
Well, the one thing I do remember is what I paid for it, and I do know that you wouldn't charge the same amount today.
Yeah, I got yeah, offline.
We're not going
Remind
to
me.
advertise that.
Yeah, remind me what it was, and I'm pretty sure it's not that now. Along with me covering the flight to come in and out. And by the way, we could have got it done. Like if I got to Newark at 9, and unfortunately I'd have to fly United because I'm not connecting with Delta. And then I said like, hey, if I get on a 3 o'clock home, would that work? Because I know the distance, but I don't know how long you wanted to spend. Because United Newark to Palm Beach, that's like every hour. No, maybe not so much this time of year, but go back a month. That's every hour. But I fly Delta, and Delta is not very friendly to Newark.
Well, the only way the fee would have covered the flight was if you flew Spirit Airlines. That's the only.
Well, I'd be running up 95 faster than taking Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, but Big Tom, you were there,
Yeah.
right? And I think as a team member, like we Charlie, and you probably don't even know the magnitude of the day, right? I don't think you do because you weren't there afterwards to see the impact of it.
Yeah.
But we talk about that day. There was a few different people like you that came in. We can count on one hand. Charlie was one. Martin Rooney was the other.
Those were the two that kind of like
Right, where
veered us off.
we were like looked at those as like flagship days, but like talk about like your experience from.
Yeah, I remember. I remember being nervous because we thought we were really good, and then we weren't as good as we thought we were. I think the biggest takeaway that I remember is we kind of built a network of clinicians outside of. You kind of told us to stop doing certain things, whether it be a physical therapy, athletic training type activities. You definitely weren't in New Jersey because you hooked us up with Perry Nicholson. That he started coming in and doing therapy. You introduced us to other chiropractors, people that could do, because you said basically stop doing certain things. Or we had clients with pain, we didn't know what to do with them, and he said, and you told us don't touch them, find someone who should. And because you weren't here, we built a network, and I think as far as gyms in this area go, no one had a better network than us as far as where to send people to get the right treatment. And that was all from you. We were trying to be physical therapists, I think, at one point. And we were bad physical therapists. We were good trainers and bad therapists.
Well, it's interesting. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I would probably say that's still something that's really out there. And golly, it might have been worse now than it is then, just given
For sure.
you don't even need to spend $1,200 for a weekend course to be a bad physical therapist. You can just go on YouTube, and please, I think everybody should have the opportunity to rip you off and give you crazy information. But when you talk about the logic of it, someone else is going to be better at it than you. And where would you want your grandmother to go? Do you want somebody who just took a course of whatever these, whether it's best in class or not? But then the business opportunities, it's like so many wins. And I think maybe one line that could encapsulate a lot of those things is, let's say making 30% of a whole lot is way better than 100% of a little. And because how this works is when you give, and maybe that's other people's terminology. Let's say it was Perry Nicholson auditing this whole process. Like, did he send people to you? Not only did you get to practice this model for other people, but then you do right by them. And then what I remember, Vince, was more about what happened, like probably after, especially the ACL thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the next piece.
Yeah, that one I remember very well. So go ahead, and then I'll give
So
my.
yeah, so let me tee that up.
Yeah.
So we worked with Charlie to get our program better, and a relationship formed, right? We started, staying in contact and staying in touch. And I looked at you as a mentor, as a resource, as someone that, hey, when I had an issue, I could, message you and you would help me, right? I ended up going and connecting with an orthopedic surgeon, really, really well-known orthopedic surgeon, who started to send us post-rehab ACL people. And this guy was doing lots and lots and lots of surgeries, and none of the surgeries were going very well. And a lot of these people were coming to us and they had extreme pain. So all of a sudden, I found myself in this situation where I'm way over my skis. Like, I'm getting people that should not be with a trainer, but they had seen physical therapists, they had gone to physical therapy, they weren't getting better. And then this doctor was sending them to me as almost like a last ditch resort. And I'm like getting these people and I'm like calling Charlie and I'm like, dude, I'm like way over my skis with these types of people. And what I would do, here's what I would do. I would send them to Charlie. Charlie would do his magic one session, get their knee better. Finally, they could train without pain. And then I would train them. And then I got all the credit for getting them to be better. It was an amazing thing for me.
And I got my hourly rate out of it, probably.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. What the second day where we brought you in was, as I started to do a lot of these, and there was one point where we were working with like 7 different doctors all over New Jersey that were sending us. So we were like a go-to.
We were turning people away. We were turning ACL patients away because we had so many.
Right. And so then what I did with that day is I realized, like, we're making a lot of money doing this. We were charging, like, back then $1,500 a month, one-on-one, 3 days a week. Like, I was like, this is a viable part of our business. And so I brought Charlie in and we spent I think it was a whole day on it. And I basically said, work with me on developing the absolute best return to play program. What do they do in the first 4 weeks post-op, first 8 weeks post-op, first 12 weeks post-op? And you sat with me and we outlined the entire system you can get on .com right now. I think it's on there.
On where?
Right now on strengthcoach.com. Boyle's,
okay.
you put it on Boyle's site. Or maybe I did an article about it, and I still get messages from that article that was probably posted in 2010 asking me to send them the return to play thing. Okay. But Charlie, do you remember that part?
That I remember very, very well, because it also became one of my digital products several years down the road. There's a lot of context though there, because I think that was an era before what was probably very normal now, where if you walk into a physical therapy office, proper physical therapy, all physical therapists, it looks like a gym. I'm credited with a lot of things. That one I did invent. I think Rob Panarello, some of his offices had like a track or whatever. But when you walked into the physical therapy offices that I built, that Vince, you saw, you're like, am I in the right place? That was what I wanted. And I had a hospital group, in the few years that I actually worked in the real world. That's very, very normal now. And for whatever it is that we're talking about, and if it's about me, great. I don't really care. I just want to go to Disney. This explosion of physical therapists that knew how to train people, but also accepted cash, because you would not have had this business growth if the metropolitan area wasn't so managed care. So, like, for what an ACL generally requires, you would never have enough insurance visits to make that happen, unless you had some ungodly like of insurance, which is even in the most affluent areas of northern New Jersey still may not be the case. So you were seeing people, whether because they were jacked up, not getting better, is also because their insurance ran out. And the next step would be to train, because then the next part of the layer here would have been these, probably, I'm glad the first physician was humble enough, but there's to understand the difference between, medically cleared versus ready to train versus ready to play versus all of these other things. You can be cleared from the surgeon, and we've seen just some disgusting, disgraceful things, but that's also what certain types of surgical procedures are. Just because you don't know, just because you don't need the surgeon anymore and he or she cannot provide any value to you, that doesn't mean you're ready to play. And that's what we see a lot of. And you had an opportunity to fill that pothole, another business term here. You had an opportunity to fill that gap in the market because they needed it anyway. Now, I would also hopefully be humble that I do hold my physical therapy skills in high regard. There's no magic, and not everybody is able to somehow be pain free. But look, if you're doing bad therapy and the ACL is 2 to 3 months out, you should be able to do some things, and all of a sudden it's like magic. It's like, because they were always good. They just were getting bad therapy, and maybe things were getting missed. Because at the end of the day, even from day one, ACL is just training. You just don't do a few things until a certain point in time based on the type of procedure that they got. So, that was really the an opportunity to also plug and play with maybe different diagnoses. But again, to be a specialist, particularly where you guys are based, the importance of youth athletics everywhere, much less northern New Jersey. This was a really well thought out plan to execute, and it probably couldn't happen today with ACL just because of the burgeoning of other types of facilities, and the opportunity to pay cash, because people will to go to a fitness facility, a trainer, whatever term. I don't want to say the wrong thing, someone will get mad, but like, it's normal, you pay. But the moment you walk into a physical therapy office, no, like, what do you mean you don't take insurance? Yeah, like, that's I'll give you one more thing here. You guys know who it is. This is an owner of multiple sports teams, and he comes in my office, or probably a little bit around this time. I had come back, so this was a drive. This was in the city, and he says, what a Charlie, we're going to do the session, but this is, I just want to ask, because I've never had to pay for physical therapy. I was just always use insurance. And at that time, he was still a Goldman guy. So he probably had really good insurance. I said, well, he goes, hold on. So you're the man. So you're going to do great work. I'm going to be thrilled. And you're telling me a third person decides how much and when you get paid? And I'm like, yeah, that's why healthcare is kind of effed up. I use a different word. And he goes, why would you people ever get into this profession? Because now you're talking about this Tyrannosaurus Rex of New York City financially. And that's the segue too of how, over years, you could then bring that into your business in a very particular way, which can drive everything. You can't hire a physical therapist; that's against the law. But there, you can rent space to one. And there's, if you didn't believe in the process so much, you may not be aggressive to do those things. So there's so much that you see that we can get into tangents on this event, where I accepted a ridiculously paltry amount of money back in 2010 or 2011.
We gotta get Charlie. The ACL program is available. You have that on. You have a version of it on your site, right?
ACL in Action is on my site,
Okay. That's what I thought.
charlieweingroff.com. Let's make sure that everybody's clear on that.
Right.
And actually, I don't know what we're going to call it or what it's really going to look like. but I'm sure you guys and many other people know who Rachel Cosgrove is.
Yeah.
She tore her ACL, what would be roughly, let's say 4 or 5 months ago. And I handled everything from day one, which is more of like what I do now. It's not that I don't have an office that I see people on the hour, but a lot of what I do is I'm this kind of chief of staff for anything and everything. So there's a lot of stuff that we managed for her. That's several years later from ACL in action, and we're probably going to film that at some point, including having her surgeon, who, again, like the stuff that you're talking about, Vince. How do I know Chris Jones, the team doctor for the Lakers? Not because he was the doctor when I was there, it's because I knew him when he was a resident at HSS. So now, like, how do we have this network that again belongs to all the people that have my phone number? Hey, do you have anybody in this location? I don't respond to you. Your next response is a group text message, which like this is how we do it. Like it's and then it's all yours. So Dr. Jones, Chris Jones will be part of this potential update to ACL in action, and all the things that Rachel has done and shouldn't and didn't do because of whatever we think is best in class.
Awesome. Let's talk about the in service. What we're talking. So part of the
the thing that they get.
That's why.
That's what kind of spurred the whole thing. This whole story, and so whoever wins is going to get a 2 hour virtual, 2 hour virtual in service with Charlie.
Yeah,
And
or if they want to come to where I'm at.
I did say that. If they want to come to Florida, you can go to Florida.
Or wherever I happen to be at a particular time.
I would totally, if whoever wins, I would totally go to Florida and do it in person. It'll make such a difference in person. And I'm surprised you're willing to do that. That's really nice of you.
Well, your crowd is national, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if I would say North Jersey, like West Palm Beach is pretty much North Jersey. So it's
Pretty much, yeah.
It's the sixth borough of New York.
And so you can use the in-service obviously however you want it. But my suggestion is, and this is what we did it for, is it's like, hey, have Charlie look at what you're doing. And the best thing, and I think too, and I remember this too, we did have some stuff written down about our system. If you don't have anything written down, it's kind of hard for someone to really help you, right? I mean, I guess, Charlie, you could go and watch the sessions. You're not going to do that, though, in a 2 hour service. So what I did was I looked at and showed him, like, hey, these are our workouts that we're doing with our customers. These are our group workouts. These are our small group workouts. This is how we progress, regress. If you have something that's documented and written down, it's much easier for Charlie to actually help you.
Let's ask Charlie, what do you think if I'm a gym owner and I'm listening to this right now and you're going to come in and kind of do this in service for my gym, what do you recommend is the best way to attack it?
That's a good question.
I think the easiest thing to wrap your head around is what we've all been talking about, this very linear audit of the training model. But even then, and that's where, okay, hey, that's why, because it's only 2 hours, again, to compare to what we've done or what we've done in other places, it would be much more than 2 hours. But that one makes a lot of sense because it's easy to wrap your head around. Where you're assuming that your training program can be better, but that's like the easy. If you really believe that your training program is the best thing ever, and you don't want someone to do that, well then what are you going to do in this 2 hours? I would say where are your gaps? Like you have to be humble enough to look at your business and be like, where can I get better? Now, I might be better at helping at other things. I don't have a big mastermind, but I do have a number of junior woodchuck licenses in terms of business structure and tax code and all these types of things. I'm not an attorney or an accountant, but I know a lot about boutique, individual LLC and S corp type of structuring, et cetera, et cetera. But where can you get better? Where have you noticeably failed? Where was it? Like what was it? And that would be your list. And that's where whether you're going to read a book or go to a course or hire a consultant, it should be based on what you'd like to get better at. You can run multiple things. Okay, I'm going to get better at what I'm already good at. I'm going to get better at what I know I suck at. I'm going to get better at what I don't know that I suck at. And it's one of those three. But you got to look, spend some time before the 2 hour clock starts, and that's how we fill in those gaps.
I'll make one suggestion to those listening to this, and I hope the winner, the guy that wins, is listening.
Listen,
Right. But one of the things that you've taught me, and you've taught me this over the years in many different forms, in many different ways, and it is about training hard safely. And I think that that's like, because we have gone through periods in our gym where we were kind of playing physical therapists.
for sure.
We were babying the shit out of people. We weren't training them. They were barely sweating. And I think one of the things that you do really well is you train hard, right? You train hard yourself. When you work with people, you train them hard, but it's always done in a matter of safety. And I think that that's one of the best things that we can do to be a great business, especially the majority of our market, Charlie, is probably working with people 40 to 60 years old. The older population, almost all of them have something going on, some kind of an injury. And I think they could really benefit from Charlie's expertise of like, how do you kick someone's ass, right? How do you kick someone's ass, but really do it in a way that's going to get them a good training effect and keep them and not even just keep them safe,
Yeah.
but get them healthier, at the same time. So that's something I think you've done really, really well.
Yeah, thank you. I think the one easy answer of many good answers, but the easiest one is just contract the catalog of exercises. If someone's shoulder hurts, what am I? No, do nothing. Now you then might open up this Pandora's box of other problems, because think of if these ACL kids came to you and you did nothing because that would be the correct thing to do, then you've now lost the business. So how do you continue to develop? ACL is a different example of if you don't even know why the thing hurts. So if you train on the left arm and while your right arm is in a sling, it's not like your left arm shrivels up. It might take 2 or 3 years for one arm to get jacked and the other arm is in a sling for it to look like that. It doesn't work that way. So there's a number of things to just leave the hurt thing alone, ignore it. And usually, by the 80-20 rule, and this is also how bad physical therapists kind of skate by, if you just stop doing the thing that hurts you, usually the thing gets better. It might not be as good or as quick as if somebody really intervened, but just training the rest of your body in this highly intelligent and effective way, according to physiology and neurology, is a really good way to just protect the thing and go to work. Now,
I think one of the things that you taught me, for me, like I went to you once and I had like my back was really bothering me, right? And you basically, I was doing a lot of trap bar deadlift at the time, right? And one of the things you told me to change was switch from trap bar deadlift to double kettlebell deadlift, right? And the two heavy double, and like anytime I do that exercise, I never have any pain in my back ever. If I trap bar deadlift, it feels like shit. And I think like little things like that a gym can learn and do, like if all of a sudden a gym can make one little exercise tweak like that and know that's huge for results.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. So we don't fall into a trap of something that's very easy to fall into trap. There was a lot of if-then statements that we came to before we made that decision. So no one is listening right now and is going to now immediately try double kettlebell because that's the internet. That's the internet. And maybe I haven't learned enough of marketing from you guys to understand that you'll get a lot of people in the front door from basically telling everybody that your N of one is applying to everybody, which is clearly nefarious and unethical and ridiculous. But there's a lot of proof out there that you can make hundreds of millions of dollars with this approach. But there typically is an answer, though. That's what's important. And learning those if-then statements, which is basically some type of evaluation, whether it is, and again, that person may not live within your direct business model. It may not be your core business, but then it'll come back and drive your core business.
Can you quickly explain what you mean by the if-then statements?
So before I told you that we should try this, because remember, there was probably a point where we tried this and you felt good. And then you kept doing it and continue to feel good. Those are if-then statements, meaning, hey, here, take these 2 kettlebells, whatever, you're a big dude, so maybe we lifted them a little bit, whatever, and like, does that feel okay? That's an if-then statement. Yes, let's do another rep, figuratively. No, Then we ask other questions. Hey, did you do this? But even before that, it's an evaluation. It's understanding, like, what are you capable of doing any type of hinge? Or what is happening in your hip, your knee, your foot that may or may not be putting your back in a particular position. So all of those things are an evaluation. If someone has pain, it wouldn't be your functional movement screen. That's not the correct entry point. But using a model that starts to understand, does this does this hurt? No matter how we hinge, does it hurt? Maybe it hurts sometimes when you hinge, but not others. That was this point, meaning it was a stability or motor control issue. Does it only hurt when you get tired? Meaning it's a fitness issue. So these are all these if-then statements that would probably look like something, merging physical therapy and training, where I'm not looking to diagnose an injury. I'm looking to understand what your body is capable of doing under different circumstances. And can you do this? Yes. Then let's look at this. Can you do this? No. Then we have to look at that. And it's a pathway, a funnel to getting to the right decision of double kettlebell deadlift versus, yeah. And look, if somebody does want to understand, usually to do a kettlebell deadlift, because the weight is located in your base of support, you have to do something different with your hinge. Whereas when the weight is at your side, you can hinge, but it's easier to squat. And the way you were doing it, you would just arch in your back a little bit. Whereas if you arched in your back when the kettlebells were in front of you, it felt wrong. Whereas the deadlift didn't feel wrong. That's the essence of motor control. You could do it, but you just didn't. So how did I help you learn? Because ideally, there's nothing wrong with trap bar deadlift. Your back isn't supposed to hurt. So why don't we do double kettlebell deadlift for a few weeks or months and then go back to deadlift and it's fine. Plus you can put another wheel on the side.
I think people are hoping they win this freaking thing. It's
Right.
been a couple hours. Charlie Weingroff.
But here, I have a question for you, Charlie. Because there's most people listen, or the majority of people listening to this are not going to win the in-service, right? So you've talked a lot about gaps, filling the gaps, filling the potholes in businesses. What, in your experience, is there any ones that stand out to you that even really good places, right, that are like Gabriel Fitness, that do small group or personal training? What are, as a gym owner, where should they start looking? Or where are those most common gaps that you see?
I don't know that there's a common gap, so I don't want to give you a cop out answer. I don't know. I think I think the problem, and I have to believe that you guys address this in your mastermind product, is that when people are fitness trainers, coaches, again, whatever term you want to use, you usually go into business because you want to be your own boss, not because you want to own a business. And then all of these problems start to burgeon. And you can do it; it's possible, but you'll never be like. You'll hit your head on the ceiling at a certain point, and then you're trading time for money. So if you do the opposite and just look at what are the common things, I don't know what they are, but you do. Meaning, just look at things from a business standpoint. If something's not happening the way you want it, what could that be? You're not making as much money. You're not getting people in the front door. People are getting injured. People aren't losing weight. People aren't getting big arms. What do you see that can generate more of the next thing that you want? And that's they're all common as far as I know. Now, the thing that I get really most excited about, that's kind of hard to see. I thought this was what you were going to ask, so I have the story queued up. So my junior woodchuck law degree, my junior woodchuck tax attorney, all these different things, they come from people on my table. This is where I learned these things. I'm not going to say his name, but if you really wanted to figure it out, you probably could. He would have been known as the CEO of CEOs if you owned vending machines. This was the guy that if you owned 600 vending machines, you would want this guy to consult or be your CEO of your company. And it's really unique. And he was retired, and so that's when I started to see him for a long period of time. And then he got called back. He's like, yeah, I couldn't turn down the money. And he says to me, once after a few weeks of being at the new business that he was managing, he said, "I need you to come and talk to our group." Like, I thought what you might have been asking. And he goes, I said, "What in the world am I going to say to a bunch of vending machine guys or whatever it is that they do?" And he goes, "Nah, look, they don't want to know how you're helping my back, but the way you look at things, they're going to want to hear about Allen Iverson, and they're going to want to hear about Marine Corps Special Operations, and they want to hear, obviously, you guys know I'm a lot lighter than I used to be. They want to hear about bench pressing 600 pounds, blah, blah, blah. But the way you're going to tell those things is what I see in you when you unravel why my shoulder hurts or why my back hurts." So they didn't even know where the gaps were. But when you find a systematic way of looking at things, that's the stuff that, like, not that I need to share all these things, but like I get more excited when I get invited to consult outside of my profession, where it's like organizational development and some of these other things, because then I don't have to argue of why you should do double kettlebell deadlift versus trap bar deadlift, because everybody wants to do it their way, and like, yeah, I'm not the right person for you. But to understand how you can get to that decision making tree and the logic, and for me to continue to understand how I can be so flattered by the introduction from Vince, and to be this close of 15 years and be considered a family member for this period of time. Yet there's other people that probably hate me and would not want me anywhere near their business, which is something I'm dealing with right now. And it's like, all right, I'll live, but it's like, I don't even understand. Like, I don't get it, because they don't even want to learn about these other things. They just want to do what they want to do. And that's okay. Now, I learned, I had a new line where, not everything goes up to the right. So if you're seeing left, I'm going right through the camera. Nothing goes up and to the right forever. So that's fine. But that's, I don't know what the common things are, but when you have this broad view of why we all here in the first place being asked to work together, then those things come to the surface very, very easily.
Gotcha. Beautiful. Let's talk about the mastermind.
Yep. So I have asked Charlie to come and speak. I think you did this I used to run these mini. Remember, you came to one and I did it in like this is probably 2013 when I had this little mentorship with like 7 people, and you were one of the speakers that came.
Okay.
I don't think I paid you for that one either, but I think a lot of pro bono work for me, Charlie. But I think that I asked you to come and speak to the group. We do these events 3 times a year. You're the keynote speaker of the event. Everyone's super pumped. I told everyone you're coming. Everyone's super excited. You always bring the wood. You always bring the heat. You're one of the
Am I
best.
going to get theme music?
Yeah, we'll get theme
We're a couple
music.
years removed from the wrestling stuff, but
Yeah.
I want Oba Femi's music, and I want all the lights.
Well, actually, it was funny. Vanessa and I watched the roast of Kevin Hart last night,
Yeah.
and The Rock's entrance to the roast of Kevin Hart was like absolutely amazing. It was so.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
But yeah, we can take care of that. But I've been watching Charlie Speaker perform better for shoot, I don't know how long you've been doing it, 15 to 12, 15 years. Um, always is an amazing speaker, always entertaining, but always walk away like I feel smarter just in this last hour, right? Just from this. But I created the topic for you. We're gonna have to fill in the gaps, right? But the title of the topic is, I'm going to probably butcher this, but the title of the topic is something along the lines, how to get your trainers so good your clients get offended when their friends ask them to come and try another gym. That's what we're after. But I think that this is
It's going to get smaller, I
no,
think.
no, that's it. It'll get longer. It'll get longer. But the point is this: after teaching business for now a decade, okay, there is not one more important metric to a gym owner than retention, than keeping the customers you've got. If you can't do that well, you can be as good as you want, as good as Dan Kennedy, as good as anyone in the world at marketing and selling. You will still create a leaking bucket if you have bad retention. And so I think as we move forward, the theme of the whole meeting is the gym of the future. the gym of the future, we're gonna, talking about AI and stuff like that, but really the gym of the future is you provide a freaking really, really good product and a really, really great community and a really good culture that people never, ever, ever want to leave, that people will pay a premium for. And what do your trainers need to do? What do your trainers need to know? How do your trainers need to act to be able to do that? And I think I asked the right person to come and help people in the 90 minutes that he's going to speak to get better. So I'm super excited. This is going to be, it's July 17, 18.
Yes.
July 17, 18 is coming. I think, Charlie, you're speaking on the 18th, which it's going to be amazing. So, but yeah, come see Charlie. Charlie, do you have anything? I don't know if we haven't even probably prepared to talk yet, but we'll work on it. The only thing we have is a title at this point right now. But
Do I have to have slides?
whatever. No, you don't have to have slides.
Oh,
No,
okay.
not at all. No.
I just have to have a brand new pair of Nikes with no creases on them, and then that's all.
Yeah, no, but we can take care of the entry music
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Outside the box question, Charlie.
Yeah.
You're the Disney guy.
Yeah.
If I'm going to Disney for one day, what's like you have to go, like the first recommendation you make, don't leave Orlando unless you see this or do this. Is there one?
I would say at least before you get there, rob a bank. Because they're gonna smack you over the head multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
No, like that is a very hard question. And we might be able to spend another 2 hours doing it. No, for who though? Is it for the little ones or is it for adults?
For me. I heard the Avatar. There's an Avatar ride like on motorcycles. That was the one you have to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's called Flight of Passage. I was on it the 6th day after it opened, and that was chaos because you kind of like had to line up, and I saw old people trampled. I saw people acting in a way that was amazingly ridiculous. Running, and you really can't do that if you did it today. So you're on like this. It's some type of, I don't want to drop the line for everybody, but you wear glasses and you're basically on an Ecron. So if you know what Avatar is, that's the dragon looking thing, and you connect with them. That's how you again, you have to know the movie.
Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. Is that my favorite ride? I think you can't go wrong with that one, but
Soarin's pretty cool.
This is similar to Soarin', but it's more.
No.
Oh, Soarin' is you go on this, you're in this chair and they fly you all around this room, but you visit all different parts of the world.
That's cool.
It's a huge screen, and all of a sudden you're in an African safari, and you're going right next to it. There's lions running right next to you. And the scent, they even put the scent. You can smell the scent. It's really cool.
That's cool.
So that's not going on right now because of the 250th anniversary of our country. There's a brand new reel for Soarin', and it's all about America. So instead of going there, because originally it was soaring around California, then it became soaring around the world because you needed the world, and now it's soaring around America. So nice. I don't know that that's a can't miss like other things. So
that was my favorite.
Yeah. It's Gabriel's recommendation.
My favorite would be Expedition Everest, where yeah. It's a Disney roller coasters are not the real deal, but this is a good one.
All
right, Charlie. Well, let's recap this. If you're listening to this, you can apply to win a 2-hour in-service with Charlie. That's one of the things. That's just that's one of the things on there, but that's vinceshugegiveaway.com. You can fill out an application for that. If you win, here's what I want to do with the winner. Whoever wins this, I want to have a conversation with you before you work with Charlie, because I think it's important. You don't want to screw it up. And what I'll do is I'll do a quick call with whoever wins to make sure they get the most out of spending the time with you. As someone that's done it multiple times, I think I can guide them in the right direction. So I'll do that.
Yeah, there's no clickbait, but meaning this is not a lead magnet to get more business for anybody here. There's a lot of really good things that can happen in 2 hours. So that's because originally we were talking about 1 hour, and I think we agreed that may have been a little short on this.
If whoever wins, the smart idea would be to pay the extra and the difference to get Charlie for a full day.
Yeah.
That would be the smart thing to do. But
That
we'll see.
anybody listening that was not planted and that was not a
No, but I'm serious. Like when I did it with you, like, yeah, 2 hours is great. Okay. 8 hours is better. It's just the way it goes. But anyway, so do that. Apply for the giveaway. Vince's hugegiveaway.com, links in the show notes. And then I am doing this as well. We're offering whoever fills out an application can purchase a ticket to the mastermind that Charlie's going to be speaking at for 80% discount.
There we go.
So anyone that fills 80% discount. So anyone that fills out the application, and then here's the thing too, guys, if you're listening to this, don't fill out a shitty application. Don't go in, and I just wrote an email about this, but there's a few people, some of the applications that people are filling out are incredible. Like I'm literally going to tears with some of these applications. But some idiots are just like they write one-word answers to long questions that should be long, and they're just like lazy and half-assed. If you're not going to fill it out, if you're not going to take the time to really fill the application out, don't bother. Okay? Because you're not going to get picked. So just don't even waste your freaking time. Okay. But if you're going to go in, fill it out to the best, of your ability. But if you do fill it out, we will be offering you an 80% discount ticket to come, and you can see Charlie speak live at the July Mastermind. That'll be at my gym in New Jersey, as well. So, Charlie, you're the man.
Thanks,
I really appreciate you. I consider you one of my closest friends in the fitness industry. I think the world of you. I was at your wedding, which was really interesting. And yeah, I'll never ever forget that situation that I was placed in. But
there were
yeah,
dinosaurs.
we could do another podcast.
There was dinosaurs.
We could do that, but I did want to say one thing about you.
Yeah.
So do you know what Tom's nickname is for you?
No. All right, I'm about do it. Do I want this live on?
Yeah. No, it's a compliment. It's
Go.
the human MRI machine.
Oh shit! It's interesting because I typically tell people I don't have magnetic vision, and that's why you need to get imaging.
Tell the story.
So I had a back injury. Vince told me it wasn't a big deal. He told me to suck it up for a long time.
Oh yeah, that I remember. You couldn't hold up his freaking foot. What are you doing, man? Stop being a bad physical therapist.
So I started getting to like the point of I couldn't stand for more than a few minutes at a time. So Vince, this is when you were in Marlboro still. So I took a ride down and I saw you for about 15 minutes and you did a number of tests on me. And then you told me, go get an MRI. You have to go get an MRI.
I probably said, I'm sorry, man. We have to get
imaging. No, he texted me and goes, Tom's fucked.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
You said I have to go get an MRI. I think I finally talked you into just being like, just shoot me straight. And you told me, L4, L5, and you gave me the whole rundown. And then literally, when I got the MRI report back, exactly what you said, just by kind of playing with my toes and checking my foot, it was verbatim what was on the MRI report. So
human
MRI machine. It was pretty.
Not my first rodeo. I believe many other very, very competent physical therapists and chiropractors can get to that point. I think, unfortunately, they are typically not as easy to access as others, but there is good, better, and best. And maybe a good way to put a bow on this is anyone listening, if you'd like to be more to the right of good, better, and best, whether it's listening to me or what you guys have to tell them for their business, this is something to invest in.
Awesome. You're the man, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks for doing this, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Be well. Bye-bye.
Later.